If you want Python web scraping that actually works in the real world, follow along and stick to the end where I show how to avoid IP request limits and blocks using proxies. I'll show you how you can scrape this quotes to scrape website. It has 10 quotes and all of them have different authors. And I want to store all of those quotes in this quotes CSV file. First step is to get the HTML. To get the HTML, you can simply print and from requests module call the get function. And here in the get, pass the website that you actually want to get. And this will get you the HTML file. But I want that to be a string. And when I run this, I will get the actual HTML file here. So, web scraping is the process of automatically downloading web pages and extracting specific data from their HTML, like this HTML here. From this HTML, I want to get the author, Albert Einstein, and the quote of the Albert Einstein, which is, "There are only two ways to live in your life," and etc. So, that's it. And for that, I use this requests module and later this beautiful soup module. This CSV, random, and time module are helper modules. But before I start scraping, nowadays there are a lot of scrapers and bots that access websites. And that's why there's a lot of blockers for that, because we want actual people to visit our websites. But to look as much as a human we can to the website, we need to write headers that looks like this. It won't work always, but in most of the cases it will. And now, the first step is to create helper functions for sessions, getting the HTML, and actually parsing the quotes. First, I will create get session function, and this function will create a session. S will be requests.session. And now I created a session, but I need to update its headers because it has a default header. So I will update and put the actual header that I created. And after everything is done, return the session. Then I want to get the HTML file. So I will call a fetch function, and the fetch function should get the session and the URL. Then I will create a variable, and it should store the HTML session.get, pass the URL, and I will also give it some timeout. For example, 20. And then, after everything is done, I want to return the HTML, but to a string, so I'll write r.txt. Now I need a parsing function. So this parse quotes function should only get the HTML, and from that HTML get all the quotes and authors. Here I'll write soap to be equal to beautiful soup. And here in this soup I need to page the HTML, and then what it should do with that HTML, what kind of feature. So it should use HTML parser to actually distinguish all the important parts from this HTML. And now, after that is done, I can create cards. So I'll create cards and call them soup.select, and this will select all the cards that are of class quote, for example. And because those cards will have also the text and the authors, but I want to separate them and also remove everything else, I'll need to iterate through these cards. So I'll write for C in cards and write text to be C dot select, but now I want to select one by one. So select one, and the class that I want to select is actually text, get the text, and also I want to run a strip function, so I'll write strip equals true. The same will apply for author, but now the class will be author. And after I've got text and my author, I will append them on my rows as a tuple pair. First will be author, then it will be text. And after I've iterated through everything, I need to return the rows. And all of my helper functions are done. Now I need to create a main function that will combine all of them. First, we need to create a session. So I'll create a session to be equal to get session. Then I will simulate waiting for some time. So I'll write sleep, then random.uniform and pass 0.5 until 0.2. Then I will get the HTML. HTML should be fetch. Here pass the session and the website. And here rows. To get the rows, I need to call parse quotes and pass the HTML. And now the only thing left is to actually load all of those data in my quotes file. So I will open it using my context manager, out, put it as a read-only in a read-only mode, then write the new line to be empty line and write the encoding to be UTF-8 and open it as a variable f. Then I will create my W to be the CSV writer to this F, and then I need to write the headers of my CSV file. So I write row, here pass a list, write author, then quote, and then write rows, and here pass the rows. And after everything is done, I want to print done so I can see if everything actually worked correctly. And I'll write main and run the main function here. Let's run the code to see if it actually stored all of them in my quotes file. And it looks like it does. And here we got all those 10 quotes as well as all those 10 authors. Scraping without proxies is fine for small runs, but once you scale, you will hit 429, 403, and CAPTCHA errors. And that's exactly where today's sponsor IPcook can help. IPcook Proxy has 55 million dynamic residential IPs across 185 locations, with 99.9% success rate and an average speed of less than 0.5 seconds, which makes them extremely fast and reliable. You also get rotating and sticky sessions, plus HTTPS and socket support. But what is crazy about IPcook Proxy is actually their plans, which are very cheap. A basic plan is $3.2 and you get 1 gigabyte of traffic for 24 hours, free geo-targeting, and up to 10 free sub-accounts. But if you need something more, for example 1000 gigabytes, then you have this small enterprise, which is actually their bestseller plan. You get $0.8 per gigabyte, and for that you can get 1000 gigabyte traffic for 24 hours, free geo-targeting, and up to 10 free sub-accounts. You can also add a promo code, which you can write IPRRE10. And when you apply the code, you get the discount of 10%. Once you've bought your proxies, you can go and get the residential proxies here and customize them. You can get the country you want, the city you want, the protocol, is it HTTP or SOCKS 5, randomized IP or sticky IP, and here you can add your sub-accounts. When you click here, sub-account, here you can create a username, a password, and also allocate a traffic. Let's get back to the residential proxies. And you can also generate a format for your proxies. For example, here, host, spot, user, surpass, and other formats that are available here. And you can also generate them in different quantity. So when I generate, I get here 10 formats of the same proxy. They also have integration example for different languages like PHP, Python, and C++. Another crazy thing about them is if you want to try IPcook Proxy, they have a refill plan of as little as $5.45. If you want to test IPcook first, new users get a free 100 megabyte trial. Click the link in the description or pinned comment to check IPcook and start using it right away. All of this talk about proxies, but what are actually proxies? A proxy is an intermediary server that routes your internet traffic to a different IP address, helping you with privacy and web scraping. And that's exactly why it can help you with scraping. Because here I'll create a website that limits only 10 requests per IP in 1 minute window. Also, all of these demos that I will write here are on my GitHub, as well as the instruction manual for running them and also creating your global website. So go in the description and download everything from my GitHub. Here I used Fast API to create a website. To run your website locally, you need to click the terminal here and paste this exact same line which is in the user manual. And after you click enter, you will get this website, and after you click on it, we will go to this website. But what is the problem with local websites is that proxies can't actually reach local websites. That's why we need to create a global website, and for that, you need to open your Windows PowerShell or terminal in your macOS and Linux and write this line: winget installed cloudflare.cloudflare. This will install the Cloudflare, which will help us create a global website. After this is run, to check if you've actually installed it correctly, you need to write this, click enter, and if everything is correct, you should see some version of your Cloudflare. And if everything is correct, you're free to proceed and write this exact line to finally create your global website. Let's click enter. And when you see a box outlined like this, if you click on this HTTPS, control and HTTPS, you will actually go to that website. And this is your global website that should look exactly like your local website. And now we can try our scraping. This is where you're going to test your proxies. But first, let's test how it works if we don't use proxies. Let's put here the local website, because if we're not going to use proxies, then we can check our local website. And let's run this code now. As you can see, after 10, I get this error 429 because I can't have more than 10 requests per IP in 1 minute. And after everything is done, we actually got 13 requests that aren't blocked and 9 that are blocked. These numbers may differ for your computer, but the point is, here we actually have some requests that are blocked. But if we are going to use proxies, then we won't have any. Let's now put this global website here, put this proxy to be true, and here we have a proxy pool, which will alternate between those two when we're going to use which. I won't analyze this code in any detail, but I just want to show you how simple it is to put your proxy in your web scraping. The only place you will see using your proxy is in actual requests.get when trying to get the HTML. As you can see here, in this session.get, in this URL, we have this proxies parameter set to proxies. And this is how you implement proxies in your web scraping. And now when I run this code, after the all 39 requests, we should have all of them to be green. The important thing to mention is that now your code may run slower because we have time delay when communicating from our PC to proxy and vice versa. Now we have no requests blocked, and that's why you should use proxies when you are web scraping. And that's it. We scraped the data and saved it to a CSV. Now you can use pandas to process the CSV, and you've got full automation. If you want the Excel part, watch my pandas versus Excel video on screen. And don't forget to subscribe for more Python automation tutorials.